Hello YouTube, and welcome to my tutorial on displacement and height maps that you can generate in Substance Painter. The point of this video is to go through different levels of details of geometry and how they all look like when you actually apply them on your meshes, and what was the quality level that you're going to get out of them. This video will cover a few basic things, but to begin with, we're going to use 3 different tessellation levels for each of the meshes when importing them into Substance Painter, and we can watch how they each behave and how they all, what's the visual differences between them. We're also going to be using UDIMs to work out on different levels of details on your mesh, so you can use a neat trick in there with UDIMs to make your mesh be more detailed in certain places compared to other places. We're also going to talk about some of the limitations that you need to take into account when using displacement maps, and also a neat trick on how to export your mesh from Substance Painter and then use it in a software like Blender, and basically you creating a mesh in Blender that's lower poly than the exported mesh out of Substance Painter, but still quite detailed and using the same texture that you've created in Substance Painter. So let's not waste any more time and let's begin. Also guys, if you would like to support my channel and you have a pet and you also live in the UK or the USA, you can head over to my channel, Blue Nova Designs. It's in the description below, and I can get a pet portrait made for you on cushions, on fleeces, on canvases, all sorts of products. We do all sorts of designs. All you need to do is just choose a portrait, upload your pet photo, and place your order. As I've said, we've got canvases, cushions, framed art, mugs, or fleeces, and they're all very, very good products. If you guys really like to support me, then please head on over and order one. Thank you. So let's begin. So we are now in Substance Painter and we have our sphere brought in. Now unfortunately I've named them cube. I wanted to name them sphere, but I don't know why I've written a cube. Anyway, so we're just going to start with our low polygon sphere. You can see the details of the polygons for each of the spheres on screen. So with the low quality one, let's just bring this castle main gate texture and let's see the results. Now we do have already the displacement activated, so it's over here in the shader option. We've also got a subdivision added, but if we turn that down to 0, so the height information, we turn it to 0, and then we take the subdivision down to 1. At this point we have no displacement information, and the moment we start increasing this value, you can see the height being brought in. But because this mesh is so low poly, we're actually getting quite bad results. So at this point we can add some subdivision counts, and this will subdivide our mesh to the point of it's doing a 32 times the amount of polygon edges we've got in here. At least that's what it says when you hover over this this option. But I'm not really sure how it calculates the amount of subdivisions. But this is the effect that we're getting by applying these settings on the low level of the sphere. It's not great, it's not ideal. I mean, apart from the actual spikes coming out of there's nothing else that we can work with. One thing that we could try is move this over to triplanar projection, and that would give us a bit of a slightly better effect, but even that is just not good enough. As you can see, I wouldn't use a mesh that's low poly to do this, because even if we've subdivided it quite a lot right now, you'd have to do the same thing in your 3D program, because if you take the subdivisions away and you bring this particular sphere and you add this texture on it and then use it for displacement, then it would look exactly like this, which would be quite bad. So moving on to the medium sphere, we're just going to add the same textures on top. So there we go. Oh, sorry, I've got to actually select the sphere. So let's just bring in the texture. So this is no subdivisions, same height information, and as you can see, it's not necessarily faring any better. So I'm going to increase subdivision count, and at this point around here 7, we've kind of reached the same level of quality as we did on the other one. But if we bring this all the way to the maximum, then you can see it's quite a decent mesh. So I wouldn't be too bothered with this. We also got shadows enabled just to see that effect even better. But again, I wouldn't necessarily. I could definitely see myself exporting maybe this mesh, which again would have quite a lot of polygons. But then you can use that in your 3D software to. Well, you could probably use it in there, and just if you want to export this mesh specifically from Substance Painter, and you can with this displacement, you can do that by clicking File over here and then Export Mesh, and then you can select with displacement and tessellation, and it would. Export this exact mesh that you can then add this texture that you've created on top of it, and it would look pretty much like here. But again, it would be very, very high poly, so that keep that in mind. Now moving on to the high polygon mesh. Now what I would do at this point with the high, I definitely want to go and disable shadows, as the level of my performance will dramatically drop. And also with the medium selected, I will delete the textures that I've added just to give me more, more performance. And now I can drop the same, texture in here. And as you can see, this is the high polygon version, maximum subdivisions, but we don't actually need the maximum subdivisions. If we go to around a value of 10, that will be more than enough for the quality that we need to get a nice effect. So this is the as I said, the level of detail that we're getting with a high version. If we move this to triplanar projection, the effect is actually even better looking. Just because it makes sure that the entire mesh is quite nicely projected, really. And as you can see, it does a good job at tying these parts together as well. So this is the comparison between multiple subdivision levels and what the effect will be in the viewport when you actually go and apply the displacement settings in Substance Painter. Let's move on to the next section. From my experience, there are two main problems with displacement maps when applied to a mesh, especially one that doesn't have any bevels. So imagine if this was indeed a cube, and you would have right here, you have an edge running across, then this problem that you're seeing right here would be far worse than what you're seeing right now. One of the options to fix some of this would be to switch to a triplanar projection, which then masks this because this is a sphere, so it works well. But if this was a cube, it wouldn't work at all. It actually doesn't work well on any 90-degree surface, or even 90-degree surface, and something even lower than that. Basically what you need is a bevel of some kind that would smooth the transition, and even then you can still see some mismatch over here that would still allow this to be shown. But when you apply this to a model, to a 3D model that's recreated not by Substance Painter but actually in your 3D program, this will be far less of an issue, as when you actually apply all the subdivisions and so on, you can start merging the verts manually or using a procedural effect. So one of the things that I would definitely advise on this is, like I've said, bevel those areas as much as possible and don't increase the height too much. I mean, 0.06 is quite high, but we could go even higher, and the more you go, then the more this sort of problem starts to take shape. But again, if you switch to a triplanar projection, you're gonna look a lot better than what it was. It's all about fine-tuning your results and your expectations as well, because as I said, this is if you deform this mesh completely, like I've done so over here, you could take this, export it, and bring it into ZBrush, and then work on it from that point. And then all you need to do is bring it back into the 3D, in the Substance Painter program after you've you've refined the mesh, the sculpt, and then you also create a low poly version of that and just retexture it over in Substance Painter. That can also work. So that's one thing. But then the other problem is the edges. So as you can see right here, the less height I have, the less problem with the edges, but the more I go upwards, the worse it becomes. Now if I take this subdivision count and take it to a lower value, you can see these edges becoming more and more of a problem. So let's just say we want to keep our subdivision count to about that point, and we have all these edges with a lot of problems. Now one major thing that you can do here is you can add a height edge filter. So we're going to right click the texture and then add a filter, and then with this selected we choose blur, and what this does is basically it blurs the entire texture, but we only want to blur the height information, and then we want to decrease that intensity to maybe a 0.1. Again, you can play with the values and get a better result, but one thing to note is the more you blur this, the more the height information is being lost. So a 0.1 may be okay, we're still getting some problems, so you may want to increase that maybe to this point, and now that problem is gone. Let me just switch this back to UV as well, just UV projection, so we get more geometry and more texture tile sets for this particular mesh. So we've still got these issues. Again, if we take the filter off, you can see how bad it was and how better it is right now. Of course, playing with the subdivision count will increase that quality a bit, but not by a lot. And again, without the filter, it definitely looks a lot worse. Well, in this particular case, with the subdivision level, it's not so bad. But this mesh is, a 300,000 polygons mesh, and now with the subdivision is even higher. Adding the blur definitely helps out to smooth out this effect. So let's just keep the shader down to about 3. It still looks quite good with this filter applied. And what we want to do at this point is we want to add another filter, which is a sharpen filter. So we add it, and then it creates this effect which mitigates some of the problems that we've created. So what we can do here is we can select what channels are affected. So we want the metal, the roughness to be affected, maybe even the height itself, but we just want to decrease the intensity to something maybe around this point. And by doing that, we sort of remove some of the issues that this blur effect has had. But do bear in mind that this problem is more visible depending on the texture that you use. There are textures that have they don't possess this problem whatsoever. It's all about the sharp edges. So for example, like here you have these planks. Clearly they would have a sharp edge, so almost a 90 degree there. So that's where the problems are being created. But if you, let's say, use this texture, which is an alien rock, once this loads in, hopefully today, yeah, it's loading. So once this finishes loading, you'll be able to see just how it looks like. So with the texture loaded, we activate the height information, and for some reason it seems to be working quite slow today. I'm not sure why. Right, so as you can see, with no filter applied or anything like that, we barely get any problems with this. We still have this problem over here with the edges of the seams where the UV is. If we switch to triplanar, this pretty much fixes it in this particular instance, but it still creates this problem over here. So whatever you do, you're still going to experience this problem. Just because the UV seams are such a big issue. You need bigger bevels over here, and you need to ensure that UV seams makes a lot of sense. And this is where the next part of this comes in, where you can actually use UDIMs, and with UDIMs you sort of resolve the problem. You get a better resolution on the problem, and you can also have different level of details depending on the UDIM side that you want to use. So let's get into that. So this is a very basic example of a plane we've used the UDIM setup. So we've got 1, 2, 3 UDIMs. And then if we add a texture on the entire tile set, this will then carry on over onto the entire UDIM file. It will take a bit for it to populate. As you can see, this is the first UDIM. You can see the quality of it over there. and then it moved on to the second one and then the third one. Now obviously in this instance the first and the second one have a higher degree of quality than the third one, which is quite visible here where you can see where they intersect. Now why would we sort of go with this workflow? So let's say we move on to a triplanar projection. What happens is the entire size of everything becomes the same. So this texture obviously is the same size as the one over here, but with a clear difference between quality of texture level. This one over here is definitely blurrier. Let me just make sure that I'm in the well, actually what I can do is if I select the UV tiles over like that, if I click this square here, I can now see exactly where the UDIMs are meeting up. So at this point right here, you can see the quality level of this compared to this is definitely noticeable. But if we go on into an environment, into a 3D environment, and let's say we want to create a ground texture and we want here the foreground to be of a higher quality level, then we can use the UDIM setup to make the back be very low quality compared to the front, but we have the same sort of seamless texture across, and that's very important. Now when we add some height information into this, obviously we want to activate the height channel on this texture. It will take a bit of time for it to load. So we've got the height information right now, and as you can see this is where they all meet up right there. Now we do have this problem with a bit of, well, this effect right here, which again in the 3D software shouldn't be much of a problem because we are going to make sure that these are attached to each other. This is the UDIM seam that is being shown. So you could basically increase the subdivision to fix this and be able to see it better in the viewport, or you can leave it like that. In general, if you bring the height further down to let's say a 0 level, then that seam should in essence disappear, although I can still see it slightly over here. If I take the height off, the height information completely off, then it disappears. It's a bit of an odd sort of problem that you can notice in here, but yeah. So if I bring this up, this is how they would look like. But again, the quality of this in the front is a lot higher in terms of texture-wise than at the back. Now this is not exactly the best case example because this could be a lot smaller. So we could have all of this maybe on its own UDIM size like we do here, but it could be a lot smaller, so the size could be a lot smaller. We could have two UDIMs in which we put these two in them, and then we have this added sort of like in the middle there in a very small patch and barely even noticeable. But again, it would still have the texture information that this other mesh has, the entire mesh has, which would give that sort of effect, would give that idea of the same texture being applied across, maybe, as I said, maybe in a landscape of some kind. So that would be it on the UDIM side of things. But I hope you guys found this video useful on how to work with displacement maps and, well, height maps or displacement maps, whichever you wish to call them, in Substance Painter. As you can see, there is a variety of options and different ways of approaching this, and always the best results you will get is based on how much work you want to put into them and how much attention to detail, how your UVs are going to look like, the textures themselves, and also how you balance out between quality and the feasibility of using such a texture. I would definitely say that manual topology, sculpting is better than using displacements, but these are a very quick and easy way of creating geometry when you just can't be hassled as much. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you do. If you wish to support me, bear in mind, like I've said, I've got a website where I sell merchandise, so head on over if you want to buy something, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.